Let's go to Brody Mullins in Washington now. Brody, what's the latest in the legislative maneuvering to try and bring this project to fruition?
Yeah, well, first of all, I can't believe you thought this is taking so long. To me, in Washington, this is lightning speed.
6 years, right?
I think that speaks more about how
for,
sad and broken the process is in
sorry?
Washington. I think that just shows how bad things have gotten in Washington if this is lightning speed.
Right. So this bill has been around for 6 years, but last fall it really gained a lot of momentum. President Obama mentioned it in his State of the Union, and it looks like it will be passed now finally in the next week. The major breakthrough happened yesterday when Senator Reid, the top senator in the Senate, said that he was going to, instead of trying to negotiate a compromise between a House bill and a Senate bill, that he was just going to pass the House bill. And by doing so, it'll just go straight to the president who will sign it.
Now, Brody, you mentioned that this has been kind of 6 years in the running, but last fall we kind of had a breakthrough, and that was because the Wall Street Journal and other media organizations showed some of the things that members of Congress and their staff was doing. Can you kind of rehash what some of the more head scratching things that members of Congress did when it came to trading on information they got?
Yeah, well, we've looked at this pretty closely for the last 2 years, maybe a little bit longer than that, and had a whole bunch of stories. The most eye-opening ones were about Spencer Bachus, who, as the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee in the fall of 2009 and 2008, when the markets were falling apart and he was being briefed by the Fed and being briefed by Treasury, on the side he was shorting the markets, basically. Which is
Brody, I'm still shocked by that. I still find that so outrageous that you could have the financial system is on the verge of collapse. The Fed chairman comes in to brief members of Congress, and the first thing Spencer Bachus thinks to do is call my broker and buy some puts.
Yes, and he gave some interesting explanations for it afterwards. He said that more members of Congress should trade stocks because it's a good way of learning how the markets work. That was sort of a head scratcher also. Now, he is now under investigation, at least by House ethics
maybe
authorities.
what Spencer Bachus should do is a bill, then we'll call it the Bachus bill, that we should all get inside information and insider tips like he does, and then we can all make the kinds of profits he does. How would that work?
That would,
to his credit, though, he and maybe because there's a lot of heat and attention on him, he was one of the people responsible for pushing this legislation through in the end.
Now, Brody,
so he turned around and became an ally of the bill.
There was a major other portion of this bill that is not getting through because it was stopped in the House. Can you tell us a little bit about that part?
Right. There's a provision that deals with the political intelligence industry. These are people in Washington insiders who sort of scour Washington for market-moving information and for analysis and for information basically about bills or policy changes that are coming up that could affect the markets. They sort of take that information and basically sell it to Wall Street. That provision has been around for a while. Also, people on Capitol Hill felt like they didn't understand that issue as well. They say they're going to study it. They might come back to it. We'll see. Lots of times when Congress says that they're going to conduct a study, that means they're really just sort of burying it.